everyone. I am Grace Henry, Director of Projects here at Island Innovation, and I'm here with James Ellsmoor, CEO of Island Innovation.
Hi,
James,
hi, Grace.
what is the Global Sustainable Island Summit and why should I attend?
The Global Sustainable Island Summit is a unique event that brings together islanders from around the world to come together to learn about sustainability solutions. I think what is important is to know is that islands have many of the same challenges wherever they are in the world. And what we want to do is to help them learn from each other. Often islanders are reinventing the wheel, let's say, and so we bring together government stakeholders, representatives from academia, NGOs, and of course the private sector that is developing new solutions, and really try and showcase what islands are doing in all these different sectors and how they can learn from one another. Over the last few years, this event has really grown. So last year we were hosted by Prince Edward Island in Canada, previously in Madeira in Portugal. And this year we're finally coming to the Caribbean, which I'm really excited about. St. Kitts and Nevis has promised to put on a truly spectacular event for us. They are really going to be a fantastic host. And so bringing together, I think this event in the Caribbean is going to be truly just an amazing opportunity.
And why was St. Kitts and Nevis chosen as the host location?
St. Kitts and Nevis has a very forward-thinking government that is working on its own sustainable island state agenda. And so the government is setting out to work out how it can diversify its economy in various areas, including climate adaptation, food security, water security, social protection. And so the conference will have some of these core themes built into the event. What we want to do is showcase many of the things happening already with local stakeholders on both of the islands, St. Kitts and Nevis. And so we'll be having events taking place across the two different islands that make up the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The Prime Minister and Minister of Environment joined us at last year's GSIS in Prince Edward Island and have been truly involved, hands-on in the hosting of this event. The Prime Minister announced the event at the UN General Assembly last year. And so at the highest levels of government, they have been pushing for this event to really have a key role in shaping the future of the country. So I think having that level of involvement and leadership from the government when it comes to sustainable development from the country means that it will really have an important role to play.
All right. And what kind of networking opportunities can attendees expect?
I think what's really interesting about the Island Innovation Network particularly is that we bring together stakeholders from across what we call the quadruple helix. So as I mentioned before, the private sector, researchers and academia, the government sector, and civil societies and NGOs. So there'll be a heavy government involvement, government representatives from all these different sectors, but we also want to show the solutions. So we'll have an expo, we'll have different solutions being on show, and the key thing is to show off the island that is hosting us. We don't want people, I mean, the Marriott's a beautiful venue that'll be hosting us, but we don't want people to just be inside the Marriott the whole time. We want to show them the island. And so not only will the networking be taking place in the conference rooms, but we have field trips and excursions that will be taking place across the most beautiful islands that with our local hosts. And so the networking will be taking place just as much in the conference rooms as on the beach and in local businesses and local areas. And it will be a great opportunity to meet Kittitians, Nevisians, and also representatives joining from all those different sectors. It's going to be a really great opportunity, I think, from that perspective.
Awesome. And so you mentioned the main stake, the Global Sustainable Island Summit, but there are other events that are supposed to be happening, the forums. Tell us more about that. Let's zoom in on the Island Youth Forum.
Yes, we've given ourselves quite the challenge. So the GSIS main event is 3 days itself, but we have 3 different forums that are taking place either side of that, in addition to the main summit. So one of those, as you mentioned, is the Island Youth Forum. That's a 2-day event before the GSIS itself starts. That event will bring together youth representatives from obviously the islands that are hosting us, but as much as we can bring together scholarships to bring in young people from islands around the world to participate, because we know that youth capacity building and youth involvement for islanders is a critical piece to this puzzle. So we really wanted to make a special place for that youth involvement. And that really builds on previous work we've done with programs like the Caribbean Climate Justice Academy and other youth capacity buildings, which is a key speciality of Island Innovations area. So that's going to be a really amazing event, and we will soon be announcing some scholarship opportunities for youth to apply to. More information coming soon on that one.
Exciting. And there's also the Geothermal Energy Forum.
Yes. So Nevis, the smaller of the two islands, and St. Kitts and Nevis, has a big geothermal resource. It's a volcano. So geothermal represents a huge opportunity there. And so we are partnering with some major geothermal specialist organizations that will help us bring together specialists on that subject, and also from other islands to learn how geothermal energy can work specifically in an island context. So looking at other islands that have geothermal resources and how that can learn from Nevis's experience, and other islands such as Iceland, Gran Canaria, how they have adopted geothermal and how this contributes to a big problem for all islands, which is the energy.
Right. And then lastly, the last forum is the climate finance
for subnational island jurisdictions.
Yes.
It's a mouthful, I know. So climate finance for subnational island jurisdictions. What does that mean? There are many territories that do not have access to climate finance, but are really vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. So territories that are on the front lines, they need to adapt, but they don't have access to the funds that they need to adapt. So we, at the most recent COP and at SIDS4, partnered with Curacao and the Dutch Caribbean islands of Bonaire, Saba, and Eustatius to run events to look at how those Dutch Caribbean islands can access climate finance, because they don't fit into the UNFCCC COP system to access global climate funds. And so we're broadening that to look at other island territories, ranging from Puerto Rico to Zanzibar and beyond. And we'll be bringing together islands that are not states, but are still on the front lines when it comes to climate change, to really put forward the best minds from the private sector to think, okay, how do we access finance that can really help these islands adapt to the needs that they have for climate change?
All right. And what makes this summit different from all the other sustainability conferences?
I think the diversity of stakeholders that will be involved. So some people watching might have attended the virtual island summit, and you'll see in the chat, you'll see in the speakers, just the diversity of people that are involved from the Pacific, from the Caribbean, from the Mediterranean, from Africa, and bringing that to life in person and having those conversations in person to exchange knowledge and information between such a wide diversity of islands, I think is a truly unique opportunity. And that's what I'm excited about.
All right. And I'm sure our audience just listening in are so excited about these forums and the summit already. How can they register?
So go to the Island Innovation website. You can find islandinnovation.co, and you'll find the Global Sustainable Island Summit page there. You can find more information about the main summit and all of the forums. So all the information is there in our newsletter each week. You can buy your tickets and find out more information about becoming a sponsor, and all the travel information, how to get to St. Kitts. What you need to know is all on the GSIS page for 2025.
Awesome. And are there any special discounts available for certain groups?
Yes, absolutely. So we have special rates for NGOs and for students. And if anyone is looking at a group ticket, they can get in touch with our team directly to discuss those. So we'll see you there in St. Kitts and Nevis.
All right, thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you at the Global Sustainable Island Summit in 2025.